Hi there, I'm Vicki Parfano from Aussie Stampers. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this gorgeous art journal page. I'm going to give you all the tips to make this beautiful page. It's so simple, you won't believe it. So let's get started. Now mine, I don't customize, I just draw them. So this is one that I just call Blythe Green at the moment, but if you can think of a really good name for her, then let's give her a name. So this is the size they print out at. What I have done is I have cut her down to a smaller size. So I took her to a very, very tiny size and I decided I wanted her just a little bit bigger. So I adjusted the size of her. And I've just printed her out on basic printer paper. So if you printed her out on photo paper, she'd look really glossy and really pretty. She still looks good on this paper, and I wanted something thin because she's going to go into my new dialogue insert book. Now this is from Ranger. It is from the Dylusions line, and this one has all these pretty covers inside. It actually has the backgrounds. And I thought this is a great idea for anybody who wants to just get into art journaling, who is perhaps a stamper or a card maker and doesn't like the idea of too much mess. Well, I promise you this is not going to be messy, but look at the pretty backgrounds that are inside here. Aren't they lovely? So they're all done for you. Now you could use spritzers, you could use a stencil, you could stamp on them, which is what I'm going to do today. You could do things like paste things into them, which I'm going to do with my Blythe Green. So here she is, and I'm going to choose a page that I think she will look nice against the background of. But you can see they're all different. They're all double page spreads. And my idea with this book is I don't want a lumpy, bumpy book. Going back to the days when I was doing a lot of scrapbooks, I hated having lumpy, bumpy albums. And I think with this particular album, the beauty of it already having been background pages in here for you means that it doesn't have to be too lumpy. So I'm going to keep it quite simple. So there were a couple of options. There was this option, which I quite like. And it meant it was pretty much done with just the addition of one of my big stamps here. Now this is the big stamp I choose to use on this one today. It's from Impression Obsession. I do like their stamps for their quotes. So it says, be yourself, let people see the real, imperfect, flawed, quirky, weird, beautiful, magical person that you are. And yes, well, I think that just suits this little Blythe doll image perfectly. So I quite like the look of this page. I think this one picks up the soft greens quite nicely. That's quite a nice page. Or there was another green page over here. Again, it's got a bit of a background happening in it. I actually think I want to go quite plain. And I want to go soft because this image is going to take up quite a lot of space. I want it to be soft underneath that. And I'm going to bring in these little hearts, which I quite like here, these little dark hearts. And first thing I want to do is get stamping. Now when you get these stamps, they'll have a piece of plastic on the back and you can pull them off like this. And I wanted to re-ink my Memento ink just to make sure that it's dark enough that I can really get a good impression on this stamp. Because when you have script like this or typed words, you want to be able to read it. I've had a lot of fails in my art journal where I've made a beautiful art journal page and then tried to stamp in a phrase or a saying right at the very end and just ruined the page. So rather than doing it that way this time, I'm going to get this out of the way first, because if I miss stamp, then I'm going to have to choose a different page. Okay. So with the big stamps, always turn them over so that they're sitting on their backs, and you can see where the ink is and that you haven't blobbed too much on. And I'm going to stand up, give myself some space here, and I'm hoping it's going to come out fairly straight if I keep the block straight. So let's see how this goes. If I keep it a straight block and commit. I'm going to give it a good press all over the block. And with the bigger stamps, you need to do this, particularly if it's script. And let's hope this has worked. Beautiful. In fact, that is a perfect impression. All right, now I want to get my little girl, who I have cut out from the larger image. And I cut out the large girl too because I have a project. This one is going to go on as well. I just think she's really cute. You can see how when you make the image smaller, everything goes darker and more condensed. So the colours are quite condensed on this compared to the larger image. And the smaller image gets even more condensed again. So that's just what happens with those images. So what I want to do is adhere her with my Tombow multi-adhesive, and this is my favourite go-to glue for all my crafting. So do you struggle breaking a blank page in your art journal because you think it's going to be really messy and it's going to take ages to dry between layers, and you know it's something that you need a whole lot of different materials for, and you may not have everything that you need? This is why I've decided to do my art journals this way, using this particular art journal with the backgrounds, because for me, I think it's a really clean and simple way to do it. And the backgrounds, look how phenomenal that background looks. It looks like I've spent hours making a background. I actually haven't. It's just, as you can see, I'll just pop that down there. Now this is a tip when you're using my digital stamps that have been coloured here. She's floating at the moment, so there's a really easy way to ground her, and that is to take some a black fine liner and I draw a couple of lines and I keep them quite confident so it looks as though it's meant to be that way, but that's just all you need to do. And see how she's now grounded, she's not floating on the page. I like to ground my images wherever I can, and it's a really simple trick like that. Now she needs a bit more, so I'm going to bring in these little hearts here, which now this is Paper Craft by Art Wrap acrylic stamps. These were very inexpensive. I think I bought these at my local Big W. They even come with their own little block. So if you're a beginner stamper, these are a great find. But I just wanted the hearts. And really, you could probably draw these yourself, but the whole point of buying my downloaded images is that I've done the drawing for you. So I thought I'd use just stamps and a bit of glue just to get this done. And they'll also have that art journal look to them, where they're a bit sketchy. And they have that grungy line to them, which I really like, that they're not perfect. Now I like odd numbers, so I'm going to do 5 lots of these little hearts. And I think that's plenty. And I'm going to call that done. Very simple, very quick. You can see that this is going to dry nicely. Once I get that ink dry, I'm going to be able to add some more white gel pen there. It's just still drying off. There we go. Fantastic. I'm really happy with that. I think it's great. You could add some shine to it. You could put some glimmer mist over it. You could splatter some more paint onto it if you wanted to. And you could add whatever you like for that. I really like the way this page turned out. It looks like I've spent hours doing the backgrounds when in fact they were already there for me. So come back and I'll show you some more of the art work that I do in this journal. It's the Dylusions journal with the backgrounds, and it's put out by Ranger. Then this is going to go inside my traveler's notebook. And if you haven't already seen what else I've been doing in my traveler's notebook, I have this particular scrapbook paper as a download in my Etsy store as well, which is I show how to cover this notebook, and I'll link that in the description box at the end. I'll link where this was from. This is the scrapbook layout that I did using these digital papers that I created, and you also get a lot of extra quote blocks that you can use, which you can turn into tags or cards. So that's a really simple project, and I'm going to add this little girl into my traveler's notebook. To do that, you just open it to the center, pop it in between the elastics. There she is. This is a Webster's Pages Traveller's Notebook, and I've put it together with a gold pen and a Prima charm, which I've added a few extra bits of bling to make it my own. And I hope you enjoyed that. So that's today's class. See you again next time. Bye for now.